Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NBA and the NFL. Got a brand new video for you guys. Going to discuss today's slate in the association. But before I get started, I appreciate you guys drop a like on the video like always. Greatly appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel and you want to be able to be a part of the DFS Zone community here, the only thing you have to do is subscribe down below. Put on the post notification, a little bell icon. Make sure you turn that on. And this way you won't miss out on any of my NBA or NFL lineup advice videos. With that being said, today, it is Monday, October the 29th, 2018. We have a 9-game slate in the association tonight. Got a stud 5 and a value 5 for you guys like always. We're going to start at point guard. We got here at the top Ben Simmons, Damian Lillard. Those guys are in play, man. I'm going to probably have some exposure more so to Damian Lillard. I love the matchup a little bit more with him going up against Collison. Collison is not a bad defender, but I can see where Lillard could probably pay off this price. Ben Simmons, a nice matchup too. It's just I feel Philly is favored by 11 or 12 or something like that the last I checked. Little worry of that game, man. It could definitely be blowout scenario there. If it is, I'll probably favor more a few of Atlanta players as opposed to Philadelphia. And if I'm going to go with Philadelphia, it will be Fultz and possibly Dario Saric will probably be my best two possible plays there. If I consider those. Just remember, I'm going to start commenting down below on these videos at the end of the day, like closer to lock, just to be able to give you guys, whoever's watching the video and wants to at least come back and comment during the course of the day. Any news comes about. I know right now, currently, I think Anthony Davis, I think I last heard before I started doing the video, is out. I know Kawhi Leonard is resting. He's not playing. Giannis is out. So it's going to open up the doors for a few players, especially in the Toronto half and the Milwaukee game. And then, of course, for New Orleans. But we'll discuss that as we go here. But again, Damian Lillard in a good spot. I'll probably have some exposure to Damian Lillard. Definitely like him there. We come all the way down. Lowry obviously is going to be now a nice little possible spot for him today. I'm definitely going to have some exposure to him now that we know that Kawhi Leonard is not playing. Definitely opens up the doors for him to play a few more minutes and obviously to get more shots as well. But I'm going to come all the way down to Jamal Murray. At least at the moment, I really like Jamal Murray. 7,200, good matchup here. You need pretty much 36 for him to meet value. Obviously, he hasn't hit that number as of yet, but he did have a 38 spot in the last game, did have a 43 spot earlier in the year. We know he's capable of going off at any given time. When his shots are going down, he's very, very dangerous. He's averaging 15.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, 3 assists, as you can see here on the screen, and 27.7, pretty much 28 fantasy points per game. I love the factors that he has had 1, 2, 3, pretty much 3 games over 29 or better. So he's obviously, this number is going to increase with time. We're going to go over to the cruncher. And let's take a look a little bit closer at Mr. Murray. And, you're going to get usage from him. He's one of the integral parts of the offense between him, Jokic, and Gary Harris, and then usually Willie Barton. Willie Barton is still out at the moment. Those are the key components to this team as far as offensively. But he's going to take, as you can see, he's averaging pretty much about 20, 22 shots total from the floor per game as far as floor shots and three-pointers. As in his last game here in 34 minutes, look at that usage rate, 27%. He shot 8 of 17 from the floor and 1 of 5 from 3. Bad night from the 3, but when he gets hot from 3, he's going to bury a number of those. Definitely did some other things to give those fantasy point totals up. He could defend a little bit. He got a block. He got a steal. He did have 1 assist and 10 rebounds, which is outstanding for him. It's something that he normally doesn't do, but he definitely did in this particular game against the Lakers. He's going to need to do that again today as well against the New Orleans Pelicans. I like the matchup. I also like the matchup for New Orleans. I mean, you got to figure Drew Holiday is definitely going to be someone that I'm going to have some exposure to. There's no Alfred Payton, so it's obviously even a better scenario here. But I can also see where Drew Mr. Holiday will probably be defending Mr. Murray more than maybe Mr. Harris. We'll wait and see on that. But I love Jamal Murray here, man. New Orleans, 119.4 points per game given up to the opposition this year. And they've coughed up 38.5 fantasy points per game to point guards thus far this year. Gave up 54 in the last game to Rubio, which is a big number for Rubio. 34 against DeMarcus. D'Angelo Russell scored 34 on them. Patrick Beverly, 34, Chris Paul, 39, and even Mr. Fox, 31. So almost everybody that they have faced has gotten at least 31 or better. So I love Jamal Murray's situation here. Definitely could possibly hit 35 or 40 in this game or better. I like his upside that he can definitely get you 40 or better. We're going to come over here back again. And at point guard, as far as value, I really don't like a ton of guys here. But, you know, if you're thinking down below, I mean, obviously Collison comes into play. I gave you guys him in my last value play for the last slate, and he came through with about 32 or 33 fantasy points. But I'm going to go with someone pretty reasonable here. I think Rajon Rondo's in a good spot as well. I'm going to go with Goran Dragic. It's really not a big savings, but as far as value, but I think he could definitely get you beyond what his price is. It's 6,700. Goran Dragic, 6,700 here on DK, 6,200. Oh, and by the way, Murray is 6,300 on DK. Forgot to tell you that, guys. That's only a 32 you need over there, and at 7.2 on Fanduel, you need 36. But getting back to Dragic, 6,700. You need 34 here on Fanduel, and he's 6,200 on DK. You only need 31, and he's averaging 32 already. And he has upside. He can get you close to 40. He's pretty consistent, 37, 34, 30, and 36. He's been at 30 or better for 4 straight games. Great. Definitely a guy that you could consider for cash for sure today. And he has the upside for GPP to get you possibly 40, you know, and he's in a favorable matchup. 4 out of his last 5 games, as you can see, 30 plus. He's averaging 19 points from the floor, 4.4 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 32.2 fantasy points per game. We go to the cruncher, and Mr. Dragic going up against the 14th ranked defense defending against shooting against point guards in Sacramento. But as you can see here against Portland, 35 minutes. Put up a 26% usage rate in that game, put nearly 30 shots from the entire game, 9 from 3 and 19 from the floor. That's 28. That's 28 shots, man. That's a lot of shots for the entire game. Again, granted, that game was a high-scoring game, 28 points from the floor. He really had a fantastic game, 5 assists, 3 total rebounds. The game before that, pretty balanced out. Again, he could be choppy with the usage rate, but when he's playing well, they're going to definitely utilize him. He's definitely a part of the offense. He definitely needs to score at least 25 to 30 fantasy points per game, or at least in this case, 15 to 20 floor points per game for him to be successful and for the Miami Heat to be successful. But 26, 18, 21, 25, he's averaging more than 22 percent usage rate. We always look for that usage rate. We also look for the shots. He's getting the shots as well. As you can see, massive shots from the floor. Look at the shots from 3. He is getting more than enough shots, over 20 shots per game from the floor as well as from the 3-point stripe. Sacramento coming in here, 120.3 points per game given up to the opposition. Is definitely going to be a high-scoring game. They got this one 226 implied total for the entire game. Sacramento giving up 36.5, nearly just the 2 of the teams that I picked here give up quite a bit. As I gave you 38.5 for New Orleans, well, Sacramento gives up 36.5 to their point guards per game, to the opposition's point guard. They did give up 56 to Mr. Wall, 42 to Connolly, and 53 to Westbrook, as well as 29 to Jamal Murray. So there's definitely some room here for Saric to be able to do very well in this matchup as well. And like I said, as far as even anybody that I might consider even lower than this, Derrick Rose can be someone at 4,800. I can see some value there. He may be able to get 25, 30 there. Collison here, good spot as well. You know, Damian Lillard is playing very, very good basketball right now. He's not the greatest defender, but he's okay. But Collison, I think, can get you value here at 4,600. You pretty much need 23. So 23 is possible for him. He did get 33 in his last outing. But let's go over the shooting guard. At shooting guard, you got Jimmy Butler, Oladipo, DeMar DeRozan. All 3 of those guys, to me, will have a little bit of exposure. But my favorite guy, I'm gonna still go with DeRozan here. I'm not gonna talk about him, but I'm definitely, out of the 3 on the top, I still favor DeMar DeRozan. I'm gonna definitely have some exposure to him. At least more than 2 or 3 of my lineups will have some DeMar DeRozan in it. I just feel it's just, you know, he's right now playing so well, and he's such a big part of this San Antonio team, and they're going up against Dallas. I really see that he can be able to do some work. That Dallas giving up 117.7 points per game to the opposition and 36.6 fantasy points per game to shooting guards. They gave up 54 to Bazemore, 44 to Levine, and 47 to Booker, the most notable worthy mention guards that they have faced. And DeMar DeRozan is up there just as good or better than those guys. So I definitely see the matchup there. But I'm going to discuss Jrue Holiday simply because we know that Anthony Davis, at least at the time I did this video, just before doing the video, I found out that Anthony Davis is out. So Anthony Davis is out, I believe, as well as Kawhi Leonard is out, And who's the other guy that's out? Oh, and Giannis. Giannis is out as well today. So this opens up the doors for Holiday, man. Definitely opens up for Drew Holiday to definitely step forward and be able to take, not only be on the floor for a little bit more longer, but also be able to run the point, really run the offense. I could see him really having a nice game here. He has the opportunity to. The matchup is there. We have to take advantage of that. He's 15.4 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 7.6 assists, averaging 36 fantasy points per game. Obviously, his price is above his fantasy point total. At 8, you need pretty much 40. And on DK, I just love him on DK. That's one of the reasons why I'm selecting him today. His DK price is $6,700, folks. You only really need 34 from him there. That is definitely below his average of 36. And we already know in the last 2 games, he's pretty much averaged 35 and 42. You figure about 37.5, 38. And we know he has 50-point upside. And he's going to have, this game here, he's going to have to put up 40, 45, 50 fantasy points. He's going to have to put at least more than 20 floor points to keep his team in it. So I love the matchup for Drew here. You're going up against the 18th ranked defense. Let's go to the cruncher as far as defending shooting guards. And here it goes right here. 23rd, actually. Denver is 23rd in defending shooting guards. So Holiday, Denver. Denver's allowing 104 points per game, 4th best in the NBA, which is pretty darn good. But 22.5 fantasy points per game, and they only have faced 2 decent shooting guards, and that's Klay Thompson put 36 up and Devin Booker put up 35. Other than that, the other 2 or 3 games, they really faced no names, guys that really are not big scoring shooting guards like Drew Holiday. I really like Drew Holiday here. As you can see, the usage rate is going to be there. The shots are going to be there. He's a main part of the offense of this team. Definitely like him and Marichek today, considering that Davis is going to be out. And then, of course, there's no Alfred Payton, so that's another reason why I forgot to mention Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton is not in this game as well, so it definitely opens up the doors for Holiday and Marichek in today's matchup. I mean, it's not really much to say. The numbers speak for themselves. He does a little bit of everything. He's also a great defender. I like Holiday here today, and I love DeRozan as well. So as far as value, just to try to get through this a little bit quicker, obviously right now, value to open up, obviously. On the lower end here, man, you got to consider Malcolm Brogdon, okay? Not going to go through a whole lot, but just going to basically try to give you guys a couple points. Malcolm Brogdon will be someone that I will consider in some of my lineups today, considering there's no Giannis. Markelle Fultz definitely should be someone. Remember, Philadelphia, this game here has all possibilities of being a blowout. And my main concern here with Philadelphia, I'm not going to be big on Simmons at all. Maybe a little MB, but probably not. I will be more so on Fultz and Saric, if anything, for Philadelphia, just due to the fact that this game is an 11, 12-point favorite. I can see them really getting out ahead and Atlanta having to chase. So Markelle Fultz is definitely someone I'm considering as a value play. You come down here in the lower end, Wayne Ellington as well as Alan Crabb are 2 guys that are very cheap at $3,600. They have tremendous upside. They were priced way higher than they are right now. Now, Wayne Ellington, if we find out that he is getting, we don't know, but I'll make sure that will respond with something. If I get any word, it will be in the comment box down below of this video. I'm going to basically let you know if I have more of an interest on Wayne Ellington. But at $3,800, you pretty much need 18. Wayne Ellington is definitely someone in play. He's $3,300 on DK, so you pretty much need about 15, 14 there. If we know that he's going to play and he's going to have 20, 25 minutes, we know that offhand, he may be a possible sneaky play here. Same thing with Alan Crabb. He's starting to get a couple more minutes now. He didn't play a whole lot in the first game against New York, but he has played 22 and 27 minutes the last 2 games, and he's been at about 23 fantasy points. And we know that he's 35. He has got 35-point upside in him if he plays 27 to 30 minutes. So if his minutes go up a little bit more, I could see him being a very sneaky play at $3,600. Those are the guys I'm looking at. So Brogdon, Fultz, Ellington, or Crabb are possible low-value plays here for us at DFS Zone. Let's go to small forward. At small forward today, I mean, obviously there goes the news. Leonard out. Of course, Giannis is out as well. Kevin Durant, I mean, he stands out. You know, you see the LeBron or Kevin Durant. Durant has been on fire, man. I'm just going to have to speak about Kevin Durant. Going up against Chicago, 30 50.3 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 50.6 fantasy points, pretty much 51 spot, 10,600. You pretty much need 53. He is capable, more than capable of getting that. And he is 10,004. You need 52 pretty much on DK. Last 3 games in a row, 53 plus. All right, so he is priced just about right. He should be able to get these numbers. He's going up against Chicago. Then let's go over here to the cruncher. Not much to talk about Durant. We know he's a very big part of this team. And the thing about I like Durant more so than Curry is that Curry is a plain shooter. We know he's just going to shoot the ball. He doesn't really defend that well. He doesn't really get rebounds, and he doesn't really pass the ball a whole lot. He's one of the guys that sets and puts himself in position to get the pass and be able to hit his shots. But Durant does a lot more for the team because he can not only score from the floor, he can score from 3. He could get on the foul line and be very efficient from there as well. And as you can see, he can rebound, he can assist, and he also defends. He gets those additional blocks, steals, stuff like that most of the time Curry doesn't get. And that's why his fantasy point totals will always be an advantage, and more so for me, one of the reasons why I would target anybody in the Golden State team, it would probably be 9 times out of 10, I would be choosing Kevin Durant. But 55, 56, 53, look at the freaking minutes, 39, 36, and 32 in those last 3 games, over 28%, nearly 35% usage rate, and then the shots are just incredible. 26 total here, 20 and 6 from 3, 20 from the floor, 24 from the floor, 9 from 3. I mean, it's just... the numbers are there. Like I said, he's balanced. He gives you a little bit of everything. I mean, he fills up the stat sheet. I definitely like the whole situation today. Chicago, 115 points per game given up to the opposition. They only have given up 28.2 fantasy points per game to small forwards, but they haven't faced anybody like Kevin Durant and his arsenal of how well he plays. Nicholas Batum put up 35, Covington 36, and Taurean Prince put up 30 points on them. So 3 guys over 30. I could see KD putting up here 50 or better. I really do see it. The only concern with this game is that Chicago falls behind. They don't have Bobby Portis, so it's a concern there. But Chicago's good enough to put up some points on the board, and Golden State has shown that they have not been that good defensively. They let a lot of points, roll up in some of their games. Sometimes they even fall behind like they did with my Knickerbockers and so on and so forth, and then they picked it up and got it in gear offensively. So KD definitely in play for me. I think he's the stud for me today. Down here, I mean, I really wasn't too sure where to go at. There's a couple of guys I like Tyreke Evans here is too cheap. 5,300 for him. If we get any news that he's going to play, and I'll be on top of this and I'll be able to report something later, but I think TE is definitely in play for me. 5,300, I mean, you only need 26 from him. On DK is 58. They're going up against Portland. Portland has given up 117.2 points per game, 29.6 fantasy points per game to small forwards. They gave up 31 to Magruder, 31 to Jonathan Isaac, and 36 to Otto Porter. And we got a guy here that's got 40, 45 point upside who is a true beast, and he is priced way below. This is a 7,500 player. He shouldn't even, I mean, his problem is he's always getting into trouble. But as you can see, look, he was as high as 8,000 last year. 7,000, he's just too cheap. 5,300 on DK here on Fanduel is a crazy cheap price. I definitely would love to have a little bit of Tyreke Evans, so stay posted. I think he's going to be the value player of the day if he does play, and we know that he's going to get his regular minutes. Other than that, Boom Bree could be possibly somebody here, man, especially with a game like this. I mean, Boom Bree, 4,400. You need pretty much 22 on DK's 41, 4,100. You need 20. He's averaging 25. And granted, this is on garbage time, but this is a perfect spot for him again today because this game can get out of hand. It can get out of hand with Philly really, really quick and put him in a position that he's going to get massive minutes on the floor of garbage time. And the few times that they've been behind and he's been on the floor for garbage time, he's put up some nice points. So DeAndre Boom Bree for me is definitely somebody that I would consider at 4,400 as a value play. Other than him, just to get through a little bit quicker, you got Mr. Winslow. Justice Winslow could be someone to consider. And I also think Norman Powell. Norman Powell should start or at least play some minutes today. Let me just find Mr. Well, let's go to Norman Powell. He's right here. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but, I mean, he did play 19 minutes against Dallas. He started that game, didn't do a whole lot. But he's a guy that can get you 25, 30. I mean, I'm looking at the factors that he's bare minimum, 3,500 here. He is 3,200 on DK. You only need 15, 14, 15 here and about 14 on DK. He could definitely get you that. And my other guy that I would consider this low, so you got OG out as well for Toronto, so somebody's got to step in there. Yeah, Justice Winslow, 4,700. He could be someone that you can get to. 23 to 24 you need pretty much for him, and he's averaging 29 in his first game. He went out there 19 minutes and smashed more than 1 fantasy point per minute. And granted, he got 9 points from steals. And a total 12 points pretty much came from his defense. 1 block and 3 steals. That's the kind of energy he brings to the floor. So Mr. Winslow could be a very sneaky play here at 4,700 who can get you 30 or better. So keep an eye on Justice Winslow. And that's pretty much where I'm at with those guys. Power forward. At power forward, I'm loving, you got to at least have some exposure to LaMarcus Aldridge. 32, 31, 39, the minutes are there. He's putting up 20 points per game, 11 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 43.3 fantasy points. At 8,700, you need about 43, 44. And on DK, he's 8,800, so it's pretty much the same price. You need about 43, 44 to cover. He's at that price, at that range right now as far as average, but he has 60-point upside. He did get a 57 spot in one game and a 61 spot in another, so we know he's capable of getting high 50s. He's going up against Dallas. Dallas is allowing 117.7 points per game to the opposition thus far this year. They're only giving up 21.6 fantasy points per game, but I always look at these things and I look in a little bit deeper just to see whom they face. And that is third best in the NBA at the moment, but they only have faced Crowder, who put up 27, Siakam, Vince Carter, Taj Gibson, and Ryan Anderson. They haven't faced no one near the caliber of LaMarcus Aldridge. None. Now, the only drawback about this is that LaMarcus Aldridge might be defended by DeAndre Jordan. LaMarcus Aldridge more than likely could start at center, which he has done several times this year. So that's the only drawback, but I still like the matchup. DeAndre Jordan is not a bad defender. He's probably one of the better defending centers. And I also like him in this matchup as well as a possible center. But LaMarcus Aldridge definitely in play for me at 8,700. I think he is definitely in a position where he can get you 45, 50 and then some. He could have that kind of upside in a game like this, which has high implied totals as well. 216 for this game. They got San Antonio 111 and they got Dallas at 104.5. So that's what I like there. As far as power forward for value, not really high. I mean, Kelly Olynyk has definitely gotten a little, heated up lately. I'm going to go all the way to Dario Saric, and just simply because of the matchup, I believe that if this game gets really, really out of control, I think Dario is one of the guys that's going to get the most out of minutes as well as faults. I'm going to say it again. I really believe that will be the case, and B will probably get less minutes if this game becomes a 15, 16, 17-point lead, 20-point lead type of blowout thing in the third quarter. You can see Dario getting more minutes. He's averaging 30 or more pretty much on average over the last 4 games. We know his numbers haven't been great as far as fantasy points, but he has 36, 35 so far this year. He is capable of getting you 40 or better. And 12 points, 7.8 rebounds, pretty much 8 rebounds a game, 2.5 assists, averaging 26 fantasy points. At 6, you need 30, so it's a little bit above what he's averaging, but he's 5,600 on DK, which is right about where he should be at. So I think he's a fair play in a blowout situation where he more than likely will get more floor time. Atlanta, 30th in defending power forwards this year. They're really, really terrible there. Let's find Mr. Dario Saric. Yeah, they're 30th. And they're giving up 113.8 points per game to the opposition. 23.4 fantasy points per game is pretty darn good, but they only faced one good player thus far this year, and that was Kevin Love, and Kevin Love put up 41. So Dario Saric is not quite Kevin Love, but he has this similar skill set. He can hit the three. If he gets hot from three, they're going to keep feeding it to him. He's a pretty good free throw shooter, and he's capable of hitting the ball, shooting the ball well from the perimeter, as well as being very, very aggressive and very good in the paint. So he does bring a little bit more maybe than Kevin Love can bring as far as skill. So I like him there. Other than that, keep an eye out on this Portland game, this Portland Indiana game, man, kind of like these guys here, Sabonis, Young, and even Amino and Collins. Any one of these guys here, this is a nice matchup. Two sets of guys that are going to get 25 to maybe as much as 28 minutes apiece. And I can see one of these guys going off. So if I do decide on any one of these guys as a possible more value play later on, I will definitely mention that in the comments down below of this video later on today. But I definitely think those guys are in play as well for me. As far as center, Embiid obviously is in play. You need 55 from him. Tough matchup, because if this game gets out of hand, I'm a little weary of that. The Atlanta's not going to stay close in this game. They are playing in Philly. Jokic is definitely in play in New Orleans, man. If there is definitely no AD, I believe there isn't. Mr. Jokic is definitely in play for me. We'll have some exposure. I think Karl Anthony Towns is very, very cheap at 8,800. He could be someone that you can definitely had there. But you know what? Even Whiteside, DeAndre Jordan, I think all these guys, Cantor, the centers, you got a couple good spots here for some of these guys. Cantor did well against Brooklyn the first time around. He's been a little bit cold the last couple of games. But I'm going to go all the way down to someone who's been pretty steady, and that's JaVale McGee. 6,600. He's my stud center for today, man. McGee, 15.8 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 35.8 fantasy points per game. He's at 36 per game. He's at 6,600. You need about 33 from him, and that's actually below his average, which is pretty darn good. And then on DK, 6K right on the nose, which you only need 30 there. So that's so he's averaging 6 fantasy points more than his price, which is darn good. Last game, only 24 minutes, 9, 5, 1, and 4 blocks. The blocks always help, and this is the beauty of him. This is what he does best. Look at all these blocks. This is the reason why these fantasy point totals are so high, and this is why you always got to at least favor him in some of these matchups. All right, so McGee, let's come over here to the cruncher, to center. JaVale McGee going up against the 6th defending team against centers thus far this year. Granted, they do have Karl Anthony Towns, which to me is he's not one of the best defenders, defending centers in his league. But look at all this green that this guy has put up as of late. And against Minnesota, nothing big. I'm not going to go through those numbers, because remember, he was playing for Golden State last year, and he wasn't being used and utilized the way he is being used now in this format and with this team with the LA Lakers. So we're going to go by what is going on with him now, and the numbers are great, man. They're going up against Minnesota, giving up 117.2 points per game against the opposition thus far this year, allowing 27.7 fantasy points to centers, which is not a whole lot. They have only faced one good center all year. Not to say that McGee is great, but McGee's numbers have been really good compared to some of the centers they have faced. The only person who has put up good numbers against them was DeAndre Jordan, who put up 55. But they did face Brook Lopez, Ibaka, Turner, and Tristan Thompson. So, again, McGee, for what he's been doing as of late or thus far this year for the Los Angeles Lakers, he's definitely in a position to be able to put some really nice numbers up here against a team that really deep down inside, their center, Karl Anthony Towns, is really not that good of a defender. So I like the matchup, man. McGee is definitely in play for me. And his price is good, man, especially on DK for $6,000, no problem. Get a little lower here. I'm always favoring a little Jonas Valanciunas. My only problem with him always is that he just doesn't play enough minutes, but he is always someone dangerous. I'm going to go all the way to Dwayne Dedmon. Okay, 4,500. We know Alex Lynn is the starter. He's coming off the bench, which is fine and dandy. But I see this game, like I said before, I can see this game getting a little out of hand. This guy's always been getting the guard. He got the garbage time the last time out, and he put up here 13, 5 blocks. This is the thing he brings to the table too, which I like from JaVale McGee as well as Dedmon, is the DD is able to do this as well. He gets a lot of blocks. 43.6 fantasy points in the last game, man. That's incredible. 4,500. 23 you need for him there. On DK's 4,700, you need 24. And he already started off with a 43 and 15 spot in 14-20. Said the minutes are choppy. Again, I can see it, this game getting a little out of control. And if it gets out of control, they fall behind by 15, 20 points, especially late in the third. You can see Dwayne Dedmon get a lot of garbage time and possibly be able to put up some nice fantasy numbers. Will he get 43 again? Maybe not, but at 4,500, you only really need is the 22-23, and if you can get that, I'll be happy with that. But I believe he has a shot here because of the possibility of a blowout that I could see him getting 25 to 30 fantasy points, maybe even more. So Dwayne Dedmon is in play for me. Philadelphia allowing 114.5 points per game against the opposition, have given up 34.2 fantasy points per game, which is in the top 10 in the NBA against centers. They did give up 29 to Brook Lopez, 25 to Horford, gave up 2 big, massive games, 1 to Drummond, 46 to Drummond, and 64 to Vukovic of the Orlando Magic. So, not that Dedmon is in that spot. I see him like in that Brook Lopez area, Horford. So 25 to 30 could be a possibility here, but I could see him getting some garbage time, and maybe, just maybe, he'll get us a little bit more than that. Definitely like him there. Other than that, I really don't like anybody else. I mean, Ed Davis could be a possibility at 4,100, and possibly Mr. Dang. That's about it. I don't see anybody else that I like. Maybe Jordan Bell of Golden State, 3,600, could be a possible value play there, or budget play at bare minimum. And that's basically it, man. That's where I'm at, guys. So that's pretty much it for today. Those are your stud 5. Value 5s, I always give you a little bit more than I should. I mean, but that's just me. I just feel that the plays are there. Why not just mention some of the ones that I have exposure to? But other than that, drop a like on the video. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. And that's basically it, man. I'll see you guys on the next video. See you tomorrow night.